Torben Blay, one of 3 Germans in this competition. Germany well represented. Blay, silver medal in the 2019 World University Games. Also a very good decathlete in his time. This is Rutger Kopelaar. Kopelaar, 7 times Dutch champion. This is his first major international final. Went to the last European Championships and has been to the World Championships twice, but he's finally made a final. Pal Haugen Lillefosse, one of 2 Norwegians. Lillefosse, well, back in 2018, he was the European Under-18 champion in Yor, now battling for medals on the senior stage. Menno Vlon. Vlon will be the first to vault in the 12-man order. Vlon was an Olympic finalist in Tokyo. He also has a spotty international record, but has really come good this year. Sondre Gudmundsson. Well, the Norwegian, his twin brother Simon, didn't make it out of qualifying. But Gudmundsson, one of 2 very good Norwegians in this competition, 6th at the 2019 European Indoor Championships, 3rd in the European Under-23s last year. Thibaut Collet. Collet will be looking to make up for crashing out in the qualifiers at the World Championships last month. Oleg Zernickel. Zernickel's another man who's had a good 2022. Zernickel made the Olympic final last year and has moved up to being 5th in Eugene, where he set a personal best of 5:87. 3rd in the world under-20s back in 2014, Zernickel. This is Bokanda Litabare. Well, many people in this audience will know this man's face. He was one of the poster boys of the promotional campaign. Entertaining video with him vaulting over the roofs of this Olympic stadium. Of course, he didn't really do that. It was actually all put together in the studio, but it was a great video nevertheless. Now, what more can you say about this man? Renaud Lavillenie, former world record holder, former Olympic champion, world champion, European champion on it, previous occasions, 3 previous occasions. Took the European title in 2010, 2012 and 2014, and a bronze 3 years ago in Berlin. He's been practicing those moves, I bet. Armand Mondo De Plantes. Well, the presenter's taking her time introducing him to the crowd, but they can see him on the 4 big screens here, and the roar goes up for the world record holder, world champion and defending European champion. And you can see there, if you look at the steeplechase pit, it is rather wet. And there's 3D on an inflatable. I like that, that's fun.
They decided that 3D was already soaking wet, might as well put them in the water jump.
A soggy squirrel.
Well, they're going to have to get the squirrel out of there by the time we have the women doing the 3,000-metre steeplechase. That is not an extra obstacle they need during the competition.
You can see our javelin throwers coming out. We have 3 Czech female athletes in this: Spatakova, Ogrodnikova and Tabakova. 2 Latvian women as well, Madala Palamaka. This is her 5th European Championships. And also there you can see Martina Rataj. This is... So perhaps experience will help some of this field deal with the slightly damp run-up area. Obviously equally tricky for the pole vault as well. So much confidence in your ability is needed in the pole vault anyway, to achieve so much in just a few seconds, to build speed on the runway and plant that pole assertively, and then wait for it to bend, get your feet up to that 12 o'clock position, and then hopefully land once clearing that bar.
Men and Vloem, the first to vault, and the opening height is 5 meters 50 for the Dutchman. A lot of Dutch supporters here for the Dutch record holder indoors and out. No, that's a surprise. He's vaulted 596 indoors. His best performances have generally come indoors, but he's vaulted 582 this year. Not a good start for Vloem. The vaulters, of course, have been out here before the presentation and tested out the conditions, but they are changing almost every few minutes. As the three of us walked over to our positions about half an hour ago, it was just spitting, but it looks as though the rain's picked up once again. So Vloem trying to keep dry, or at least drying off. Not expecting to see Mondo De Plantes come into this competition at this height. So it's Paul-Helge Lillefosse. Lillefosse got some good credentials as a teenager, now 21 years of age, so he'd still be eligible for next year's European Athletics Championships for the under-23s, which will be in Espoo in Finland. Nicely done for Lillefosse for the 2018 European under-18 champion and 2019 European under-20 champion. So he could potentially next year get the full set in Espoo. But for the moment, he's focusing on getting a medal here.
It's interesting, it might be a night where you come in a little earlier than you normally would, just because of the conditions. You don't want to be too caught out. But then again, if they're improving, you don't want to come in too early and struggle.
Yes, I think towels are going to be at a premium here. Everybody wants a towel. Then, of course, the key issue is you're going to have to be very careful with your grip with the pole, even though you're using all sorts of various substances to be able to hold on to your pole. Keeping dry both yourself and your equipment is going to be the most important thing.
Time for our first track final of the evening. It's been pretty tricky warm-up conditions for these women as they look towards this 800-metre final. But they're here now. The rain has stopped. There's a rainbow over the stadium. These athletes are ready to race it out over 2 laps. Our sport can be wonderfully complicated and sometimes wonderfully simple. Louise Shanahan of Ireland on the coach on the way here, kind of cutting myself and her team manager short, just saying, look, my job tonight is to run 2 laps. We were starting talking about past results, antics and tactics, and she just said, I've just got to get around the track, give it my best effort. Be sometimes the best attitude to bring into 2 laps. There she is, Louise Shanahan, PhD student from Cambridge, balancing pretty intense physics studies alongside 800-metre running, rewarded with a national record back in May. She struggled a bit with illness, but she looks back to her very best here in Munich. And Villagos of Poland made the semi-final at the World Championship. She's always got a really good last 50 metres. She under 2 minutes for the first time this season, which is good in championships. Laura Hoffman of Switzerland is here in her first major championship final. She's made semi-final outdoors at World Championships at Olympic Games. But this is it in terms of outdoor major championship finals. And Laura Hoffman, again, another athlete that's just looking stronger with every race, as is Christina Herring. She exited at the semi-final stage in Eugene and then ran a season's best of 1:59.5 in Silesia just 2 weeks ago. Led her semi-final as well. The Herring posters are being flown all around the stadium. Alexandre Bell of Great Britain and Northern Ireland is one of 3 strong British women in this final. She made the Olympic Games final last year, Commonwealth Games 6th placer a few weeks ago. Renelle Lamotte has 2 silver medals from 2016 and 17. She won her semi-final. She looked really good before we headed off to the World Champs, maybe struggled a tiny bit there. But the Frenchwoman looked good qualifying. Gemma Riki of Great Britain and Northern Ireland came 4th at the Olympic Games last year. Contracted glandular fever during the indoor season, and that has kind of halted her progress, held her back a little bit outdoors. But I do feel there's a number of women in this field that are just looking better and better with every week that goes by. And Keely Hodgkinson, not sure we can say the same for her. Level's so high, and she's maintained that superbly well throughout this outdoor season. We saw Matt Hudson-Smith, Laura Muir manage to pick up medals across all 3 championships. That's the job, Keely Hodgkinson, tonight. Her personal best, some 2 seconds better than everybody else. I feel like Keely Hodgkinson has the strength and speed to do anything in this field. Got very close to Athing Mo at the World Championships, just 800ths of the gold medal there. Was kind of blown away slightly by Kenya's Mary Mora at the Commonwealth Games. Keely was frustrated with that performance. Just one more race to end on a high in the championship circuit. Great Britain and Northern Ireland do have a strong history of picking up medals in this event. I don't think we've ever had 2 on the podium, and I don't think Poland had an individual medal, so Anna Villagos could be one to try and do that. Christina Herring led her semi-final. I think that was a tactic to ensure she was in this final. Herring does often go to the lead. She's so tall, running in a group can be uncomfortable for her. But Keely Hodgkinson has had a lot of success indoors, just going to the front and holding it. She's managed that on the circuit and at a national championship level. Could Keely Hodgkinson just make this race a little bit simpler for herself by going to the lead? And no, it's Gemma Riki of Great Britain and Northern Ireland that's got out the hardest. Louise Shanahan fighting to give herself a good position. Keely Hodgkinson at the moment just caught up in the middle of the group. They come through the first 200 well under 30 seconds, so it is pretty quick. Christina Herring has got herself in a good position. When you're at your limit, you don't want to run any further than you have to. Renelle Lamotte at the moment of France has swung wide. Keely Hodgkinson is running wide. She can afford to with that brilliant, fantastically fast personal best for the Olympic Games last year. But it is the tall German Christina Herring leading the field through as she did in the semi-final. This is a fantastically strong run from Christina Herring. 58 seconds through the first lap. That's so sensible and it's so controlled. All 8 women very much in contention here. This third 200, they've got to maintain their concentration. Renelle Lamotte looks like she's itching to kick. She'll be so conscious that Keely Hodgkinson is behind her. Gemma Riki is on her inside. Are things going to get shaken up down the back straight? Christina Herring perhaps being forced into a kick, forced to protect that inside position. Keely Hodgkinson has gone super wide. She's got enough air, that gap there to go to the inside. Keely Hodgkinson on the inside, and her teammate Gemma Riki tracked her superbly well through that 50 metres. They're coming round with 150 metres to go. It's Keely Hodgkinson from Gemma Riki. Renelle Lamotte of France trying to get herself back on the podium. Here comes the strong pole, Villagos. Could she get herself among the medals? Keely Hodgkinson is striding away. Renelle Lamotte is powering through into a silver medal. It could be 3 silvers for the French athlete. Keely Hodgkinson takes the win. Renelle Lamotte second. Anna Villagos, a brilliant closing 100 metres. Laura Hoffman of Switzerland got a sneaky move on the inside, and Gemma Riki, it was almost a replay at the Olympic Games. She was in a medal position until the closing 80 metres and just faded, but she really put herself in it to try and run with Keely Hodgkinson. But Keely picking up a gold medal to go with her 2 silvers from the major championships. Hats off, that was a really well controlled, tactically judged race from young Keely Hodgkinson.
And that's a landmark victory as well for Great Britain and Northern Ireland. The 122nd gold medal for Great Britain and Northern Ireland in the history of the European Athletics Championships. They finally overtake the former Soviet Union, who competed in these games, in these championships between 1946 and 1990. Great Britain, Northern Ireland, thanks to Keely Hodgkinson, and earlier in these championships, Laura Muir, Zarnell Hughes and Matthew Hudson-Smith go to the top of the all-time medal table.
It was really a well-judged race from Keely Hodgkinson. Hats off to Christina Herring for making it a true run race. She certainly felt that was her best tactic. Keely Hodgkinson set herself up for this move as she moved into 300 metres to go, and she just lifted her pace ever so slightly down the back straight. It wasn't a massive kick. I was super impressed with Gemma Riki's commitment and dedication to getting onto the shoulder of Keely Hodgkinson, gave her herself every shot at a medal. And ultimately it just went for gold and then suffered in the home straight. Keely Hodgkinson running supremely bravely. Renelle Lamotte looks absolutely delighted with another silver medal at the World Championships. She's had injuries and issues over the years, and bringing her very best performance of 2022 to the European final. And Anna Villagos of Poland only went sub 2 minutes for the first time this season, and she's done it again here, just a shade outside her personal best. So outperforming her ranking, outperforming her record on paper, and delivering a championship performance as we've so often seen her do before.
And also a word for Hoffman of Switzerland. She was finishing so fast, but as Gemma Riki just started to tire, Riki just edged into her inside lane, and Hoffman was blocked, as I thought she was going to come up and challenge and even go past Villagos on the inside.
Oh, great to see Keely straight in for a hug with her mum and dad, and the other people there were friends of Jenny Meadows and Trevor Painter. They'll be massive fans. It's her mum and dad will be very relieved, delighted and proud that Keely Hodgkinson has delivered 3 major championship medals this season.
Well, Renelle Lamotte, 3rd consecutive silver. You have to feel for her as well. When's she going to stand on top of the podium?
I love the delight on her face, though. Renelle Lamotte is actually very honest on social media. I think if anyone likes following athletes on social media, Renelle Lamotte is hilarious and very, very honest. And you can see that in her face. I'm sure she would have dreamt of converting to gold, but when you're coming up against someone like Keely Hodgkinson, an athlete that's really, really talented and tactically so reliable, I don't think Lamotte ran for silver, but I also think she'll know that it could have been worse, particularly with the issues she's had this summer. Final results: Keely Hodgkinson takes the women's 800, 1:59.04 from Renelle Lamotte, 1:59.49, and Anna Villagos of Poland, 1:59.87.
Incredible set of medals for someone who's just 20 years old, and she went to the same school as Ella Toone, who won the women's Euro football final with England. What a school that must have been. So the women's javelin final, of course, we've got the pole vault underway for the men. We're waiting to see when Mondo De Plantes will enter this javelin competition, featuring some very experienced competitors, with Pratt and Spatakova competing at the 2006 European Championships in Gothenburg. That was where the great Jan Zalesny, who's here this evening, won his last international medal, the men's world record holder. He was age 40 at the time. Spatakova, age 41. It's great to see her still making major finals, and you just wonder, with someone with that experience, whether it will help her in these sorts of tricky conditions. It is a little bit damp. The pole vaulters are kind of running from an area that's more covered under the roof to one that isn't, and the javelin throwers are just outside of the roofed area, in the middle of the bend, of course, throwing out into the field. So just waiting a moment for these competitors to be introduced. You can see a number of spectators in the crowd have the specialist rain ponchos, if you like. They've come pretty much prepared. We've been waiting for this sort of weather to emerge all week, having been really hot, as high as 31 degrees at one point. Very different story, though, this evening.
Well, what's your thoughts, Alex? We've been talking about the conditions here, and that's obviously going to affect all the events. How's it going to work with the javelin? Here's the javelin presentation.
Yes, so let's have a look at these athletes one by one. First of all, this is Rika Shilagi, the Hungarian, who has 6 national titles, a best of 62.45. So the Czech flags out. First one of 3 athletes, Nicole Tabakova. So she won the European Under-20 title in 2017. So this is the home favourite, Annika Fuchs of Germany, European Under-23 champion 3 years ago with the best of 63-68. All but 3 of these women over 60 metres this year, by the way. Victoria Hudson of Austria, the national record holder with 64-68 in Eisenstadt last year. Lena Musa, the first of the 2 Latvians, the 29-year-old, was 6th at the World Championships in Eugene, Oregon. The 2015 World University Games silver medalist. Nikola Ogrodnikova. Now she was the silver medalist 4 years ago in Berlin. 67.40 is her lifetime best. So Lithuania, fantastic night last night for Alekna, winning the discus, just 19 years of age. This is Leveta Jazinaite, who was the bronze medalist 4 years ago. Another University Games winner in 2019. Adriana Villagos, another strong teenager, Balkan champion and World Under-20 champion as well. Madala Palamaka, this is her 5th European Championships, with a best of 7th in 2016 in Amsterdam, and a PB of 66 metres 18 centimetres. A smile from Martina Rate, the 40-year-old, with the best of 4th at the Europeans in 2018. And Elena Sengo, another young up-and-coming athlete. She's the reigning European Under-20 champion. And improved to 65.40 this year, and is now just 2 metres off the Greek national record set in 2000. And Barbara Spatakova, the world record holder, 3 times world champion, 2 times Olympic champion, who won this title in Zurich in 2014. And still loving soaking up the atmosphere. It was sensational to see her get a medal. Not going to be easy, of course. The javelin throwers try and build up speed on that runway and then have to come to a complete stop on a slippery surface. You can see it there. And here we are, ready to get this competition underway with Adriana Villagos of Serbia. Of course, fantastic long jump win for Ivana Vuleta for them. Not too much speed there. Villagos makes sure she can come to a clean stop. So just looking at qualification, by the way, we had a couple of throws over 61 metres. It was also a little bit underwhelming, but generally speaking, the qualification marks have been quite high compared to what has been needed to qualify for the finals. So the temperature, I think, dropping a little since the start of the programme. I mentioned it was 17, it's now around 15. The wind staying reasonably still. 51-15 for Villagos, the opening throw in this javelin final. Rika Shilagi with the lumbar support you often see javelin throwers wearing. Quite an explosive event on the body. Holding the javelin above her head and then pushing all the way through. Transfer that energy. Javelin lands pretty flat. So Shilagi, one of those who hasn't yet thrown over 60 metres this year. We saw in the men's competition, by the way, Thomas Rohler, obviously a big fan favourite here, but didn't make it through to the final. He has had surgery in recent years, but a shame to see his decline. 52.28 for Shilagi. So just the best of the two that we've seen so far. And it's really hard to say what kind of distance we might see tonight. But in essence, all of the athletes have the same conditions pretty much, so whoever can make the best of it on the night, still worthy of huge respect. Javelin, can she improve on that bronze medal from last time out? In fact, in 2018, Lithuania got 2 medals. So that was the maximum that they've ever achieved, which they've done twice. So looking to equal that in 2022 here in the Olympiastadion in Munich. So 57.39, and that's more of a marker to throw the gauntlet down to the opposition from Levetta Javelin.
Elena Sengo up next. Such a promising junior. She's thrown really far this year on the world rankings and the European rankings, and just doesn't always reproduce it at the championships. But wow, that's a lovely start from Elena Sengo. That all settled the nerves. I feel like every time she's gone to one of these senior championships, you know, if it was on the Diamond League at the World Championship, she's just got tight, and it's just shown in her throwing. And Elena Sengo doing much better with her first round effort. Hopefully she can relax now into this competition.
Greek enthusiasm for the field events is absolutely terrific across the board with the jumps and throws. Kat Stefanidi, Miltiades Tentoglu, and also in the heavy throws as well. Sengo, our first throw over 60 metres then. On to Madala Palamaka. Almost as far back as she can go. Almost into the gate, almost like she's being reintroduced to the crowd. Can she announce herself to this field in this javelin final? So that's kind of middle of the range from what we've seen so far, where you can see 55 on the field. It's to the right of that's the corresponding line. So going to be around 56, 57 metres perhaps. Good to see a young generation coming through, and good to see athletes making finals who've been competing consistently on this international major championship stage for a number of years.
So Vloon, I know Vloon of the Netherlands, third attempt at 550, his opening height. He's not looked impressive with his earlier performances, and Vloon is the first man to depart from this competition. Well, disappointing outing for Vloon. Jumped 585 this year outdoors, 591 indoors. Not his night. So Vloon goes back, contemplates what he needs to do, packs his poles, and he'll be looking forward perhaps to the Diamond League coming up.
When we talk about tricky competition environments here in the men's pole vault, it's going to be wet on that mat. They're going to be landing on that mat and getting their kit very wet. But also warming up, they haven't been able to do the full warm-up that they normally do. Hopefully they had access to the indoor warm-up track we've seen some shots of. But when you come out here on the track and suddenly you're having to deal with that as well, it's an awful lot of experience that's going to be needed to tackle these conditions at both ends of the track.
Annika Fuchs trying to get the crowd going. 63, 68 at best. Well, so often major javelin finals can throw up a couple of surprises. One more so than the Olympic Games last year. On that occasion it was the Germans that struggled, but maybe Fuchs can use the home crowd to their advantage, just like so many other Germans have done. Constanze Klosterhalfen and Niklas Kaul, to name a couple. So still that lead in this opening round from Elena Sengo of Greece, 60 metres and 82 centimetres. Levetta Javelin, 57.39. That's a disappointed coach, isn't it? 52.80 for Fuchs.
Fuchs is probably Germany's big hope for a gold tonight. I mean, they've got 3 men in the pole vault who are very, very good indeed and might contest the medals. But they went without a medal last night, the host nation.
Yes, and I mentioned Ivana Valeta's triumph in the long jump. She pushed down Malaika Mahambo. This is Rata of Slovenia. Disappointment for them with Christian Che only getting the silver in the discus. Beaten by Mikolas Alekna of Lithuania, but it was still the best performance ever at these championships by a Slovenian man.
While we watch Rate, it's worth mentioning once again Mikolas Alekna. He was the youngest ever discus medalist of any hue and the first teenager ever to win a throwing gold. Of course, that potentially could even be beaten here if somebody like Villagos or Sengo got to the top of the podium. But Alekna, 19 years of age, and wins the discus gold, emulating his father who won in 2006.
So 52 metres and 5 for Martina Rata. This is Nikola Ognognikova. So readying herself on the runway for this first effort. Javelin goes up high. Where does it come down? Once again, just over that 50 mark. So that silver line that was superimposed on the field is 8th place at this point. Ognognikova is 9th in the throwing order. So, of course, all 12 athletes will get 3 throws, and then we'll take the top 8 for the final 3. 52.11, that slots her into 6th place. Lena Musa of Latvia trying to psych herself up for this. So always a reference point to beat your teammate. 56.55 for Palamaka so far. She's going to be just short of that. Well, if anything, a chance for the athletes to get a feel for the conditions and the track surface, just as they would have done in qualification, of course, but with the added dampness tonight. So Lena Musa, 54.33. The Latvians right now in 3rd and 4th.
There's still a lot of surface water there. It's very, very damp. They will be a little bit careful with their run-ups. They won't be running at full bore, I don't think. Despite the fact that those Javelin boots have got extended spikes.
Hudson, the Austrian record holder. So approaching the throwing position early, as we sometimes see many of the heptathletes do. But she's closer to 55 metres. Most of these competitors are some 5-6 metres off their best, including what they've thrown this year thus far. So that kind of gives you a relative idea on how the competition has started. It's been quite interesting that in some of the field events we've seen a really exciting opening round with some big measurements, including in the women's hammer, women's long jump, and then things haven't really kept up that kind of pace. So 56.07 for Hudson, who splits the Latvians. Now Barbara Spatakova. A rhythmic clapping from the crowd for the world record holder. Held the record of 72.28 since 2008. Spatakova. So run up just went slightly to the left-hand side, but that is a very good effort and should put her in 2nd place, I reckon, behind Sengo.
Spatakova there, rolling back the clock. She competed here in Munich 20 years ago, didn't make it out of the qualification rounds, but that was before Adriana Villagos and Elena Sengo were even born. Spatakova putting herself up in a medal position at the end of this first round. So impressive.
Yeah, 59.04 as that completes this first round.
So, Renaud Lavillenie coming into the competition at 5.65. He passed at 5.50. Three-time European champion. Nicely done. I think he'll be battling for the medals tonight. It's difficult to see beyond Mondo De Plantes taking the gold. It's been unbeaten for about 18 months. Lavillenie, and he's very much the, I've heard it said on other commentaries, the shop steward of the pole vaulters, hugely respected by everybody out there. He's also vaulting still, almost at his very best. Nice opening clearance from Lavillenie.
So now Villagos, the 18-year-old from Serbia. Looking to improve here, and she's well ahead of that number 8 mark. Right on that 55-metre line. And delivers with a lot of power, the teenager. It's come up as 55.14, so that pushes her up some 5 places. Rika Shilagi, 52.28 so far for the Hungarian. Still that one effort over 60 metres from Elena Sengo. That's much better though from Shilagi. And now we have 2 throws over 60. .60 metres and 57. That is her best throw this year. And the first time she's gone over 60 indeed, for the 6-time Hungarian champion. So it pushes Liveta Jasinaiti out of the top 3 positions. And Shilagi goes up into 2nd place. And Spatakova down to 3rd, but Jasinaiti can respond in the 2nd round. Once again, side on early. It still delivers with good speed. Looking a little bit disappointed, but appears to have improved by some fraction.
Just didn't seem totally like she was building momentum and speed there. It was a little bit tentative. Phil quite rightly pointed out it's still wet underfoot, and Jasinaiti there for me just maybe not fully committing to the throw. And her coach didn't like that either. That mixture between tension and effort just not quite right. Didn't look very fluid and didn't look like the timing was quite right for me.
So now it's the first heat of the first round of the women's 100 metres hurdles. The only action tonight that's not a final. These women, the successful women, will go through to tomorrow's semi-final. And it's the first 3 in each heat and the 3 fastest losers who do advance to the semi-finals. So we're looking at Valette of...
And in lane 8, the 2021 European Under-23 Championship
Valette of...
representing Poland.
France, yes, sorry, just a slight confusion there. Wojtnik of Poland. So they've redrawn these heats, I think. So in case you're looking at the European Athletics website, www.european-athletics, that'll give you the most up-to-date information. We're looking at the start list, but I think there's been a bit of a redraw of the heat. So from the inside is Tomipit Prejile of Slovenia, Valette of France, Kristofi of Cyprus, Plotatsina, the very good Ukrainian, in lane 4. Jessica Hunter, Great Britain 5, Bogliolos of Italy 6, Jiranova of Italy 7, and Wojtnik in lane 8 of Poland. And it's the Pole who's away quick as well. Also Hunter at this stage, and Valette running well. Now Valette really starting to motor. The Frenchwoman in lane 3, lane 2 doing well. Jessica Hunter gets up on her shoulder. The Briton just takes the verdict, I think, coming off very quick over those final 2 hurdles. No doubt at all. Hunter. So Hunter, this is her first really major international competition. 13.27 for her, just a little bit off her best of 13.12 set earlier this year. She'll advance to the semi-finals tomorrow evening. Laura Valette, the Frenchwoman, 13.30. Well, she's run under 13 seconds this year. She might be a little bit disappointed with that, but she gets through without too many problems to the semi-finals. And third, it'll be Wojtnik of Poland. Wojtnik running on the outside. The others probably really didn't see her. She ran much of a solo race. Jiranova and Kristofi and Plotatsina. We'll have to wait and see whether they go through as one of the 3 fastest non-automatic qualifiers.
Yeah, good performance there from Hunter to come through, kind of building her momentum throughout that race. New lifetime best this year of 13.12 in Geneva. An athlete certainly growing in confidence, being coached by Scott Grace. Valette, though, look at her, our early leader. Interesting to compare their styles just coming through. And Valette was incredibly close. 300s between them. Of course, not unaccustomed to seeing that in sprint hurdles races. And Wojtnik taking that 3rd spot. And then 3 time qualifiers across all of those semi-finals. So interesting, this sprint hurdles competition starting quite late, obviously, the penultimate evening session. And the competition will step up when we get to the next round. Said semi-finals before, of course I meant heats today. And then semis, this is the final, the women's javelin, Elena Sengo. Really hard to call this competition. I know that Barbara Spatakova win would be popular, but Sengo at the moment in the lead and going over 65 meters. So, a hug from the Greek team before we know what this measurement is. We do now, it's 65.81. So she's now 5 meters clear of her opponents.
I said it in the first round for Elena Sengo, but she's so talented. And there were a lot of withdrawals from the World Championships, and I thought Sengo might sneak a medal there, and I think she didn't make the final. But Elena Sengo using all the experience she's gained through the age group championships in the circuit this year and bringing it here to Munich.
Yeah, adding 41 centimeters to her lifetime best. Ogrenikova, maybe this competition is going to just rise up a notch in terms of temperature. Currently in 11th place, the silver medalist from Berlin 2018 needs 54.52 to get into the top 8. The spot currently held by Annika Fuchs of Germany, who herself has improved in this round. We're just coming towards the latter stages of this second round. We've got Musa, Hudson and Spatakova. Here is the Latvian. So once again, very close to the left-hand side in her run-up. And the javelin ends up a little bit to the left as well. Musa just 19 centimeters off of Fuchs in 8th place. But she's another who has improved. 58.11, and that puts her up into 5th place as things stand.
Now, the very first attempt of this competition, 5.65 for Mondo De Plantes. sails over. What a vault to open your account with. Gosh, must have been 40 centimetres to spare there. That would have been a 6-metre vault on its own. Maybe we will see the bar go up to 6 metres and beyond a little bit later on. It just makes it look like a training vault. There's a big smile there from Renaud Lavillenie, one of the few other vaulters in the world who's gone over 6 metres. Nicely done. We did lose at 5:50. Not only Menno Bloom, who you saw, but Dominic Alberto. But he's still 7 men clear at this height. 10 men in the competition in total. Now, Oleg Zernikal. Zernikal needed 2 attempts to get over 5:50. As I mentioned earlier, he's very much come on and become part of the top echelon of pole vaulters this year. Got equal 5th place in the World Championships. Plants hard. Oh no. Just came down on the bar. Looking a bit rueful there. He just flies out right the way to the right-hand side. That wasn't the way he wanted to do it. Had more of a fighting chance of clearing that bar if he manages to get his approach straight on.
Second heat of the women's 100-metre hurdles. Looks like an empty lane 1 down there. Starting from lane 2 is Monika Zapalska of Germany. She's going to take a nice smile and a nice wave for the home crowd. Second at the German National Championships this year. It's a lovely roar. Nicola Massetti of Italy is next, and now Anne Zagre of Belgium. I do think this might be what's confused the order. She wasn't on our original start list for this opening round, and they've redrawn it to include Zagre, which is confusing because I think she's well into the top 12 athletes and could have had a bye through to this round. We'll have to try and figure out what's gone on there. Mathilde Heltbeck for Denmark is next. She made the semi-final at the World Indoor Championships. Elsavet Placidou of Greece is in lane 6. She's gone underneath 13 seconds, but not this season yet. In lane 7 is Maika Chinalim. She's very close to that 13-second mark this season. And completing the lineup in lane 8 is Anja Lukic of Serbia. So the fastest on paper by some margin is Zagra in lane 4. Holtbeck, a pair of good Danish high hurdlers. We'll see Mette Gravesgaard in the next round. Confused about Zagre being here, though. She's ranked high enough to skip this round. I can only assume perhaps she's short on races and she's asked to be involved here in round 1, but it's caused a redraw. First 3 advancing to tomorrow's semi-finals. Zagre hits the first hurdle hard and she's first. It's often a race, that first hurdle, and then you've got to hold that momentum, hold that technique. Zagre, devastated at the World Championships, fell over in her heat, was given the chance to rerun because she was impeded by an athlete next to her, reran and then still fell over. And it was a torrid time for the Flemish athlete out in Oregon, and that's a bit better. Maybe that's got something to do with why she's here in this round. Good second for Maika Chinalim.
Yeah, I think a good performance from Anne Zagre would be very popular at these championships, given what happened to the Europeans, as you said. Yeah, joint 5th on the European list this year. Trying to have a look on social media to see if I can see any reason why she might take part in this opening round, but would be good for race sharpness, certainly. You do risk the possibility of of crashing out.
I think Priscilla Du thinks it's only top 2 into the next round. Or perhaps she's just not amused at all by 13.33. Zapalska of Germany, 4th place, 13.39. That notches her into the 3 hot seats, along with Holtbeck and Massetti. So at the moment, 3 non-automatic qualifiers all coming from this round. We've still got one more heat to go in round 1. But Zagreb got a great start, as did the Greek athlete Priscilla Du. And Chinelin just got into her running throughout this race. But Zagreb, I can only assume, you know, the last competition we saw her at in Oregon was just so problematic, and Zagreb may be saying, I really would like to run all 3 rounds. And that's an interesting dynamic, because so much talk about athletes getting advanced through the rounds, and it's very controversial. I think in a busy summer it's important. It's pretty much the only way our top European athletes can even consider competing here at the European Championships, and they're risking their health and their career through injury. But Priscilla Du, good run there for 3rd place.
So Barbara Spatakova in this women's javelin final. 59.04 so far. That puts her in 3rd spot. But athletes gradually getting more used to these conditions. Perhaps slightly less damp on that runway. Spatakova over 60 meters, just. She seems really up for this. Won this title 8 years ago. Sengo still some way out in front, but this 2nd round measurement for Spatakova has come up as 60 meters and 31 centimeters. So that puts her pretty close, 26 centimeters off Shilagi in 2nd. And Sengo still that new lifetime best of 65.81.
Well, I have to say, we've seen over the years, turn the clock back 10, 15 years, the sheer intensity of her performance. She's really just enjoying herself tonight.
Which is brilliant to see. I mean, Villagos to be on this kind of senior stage, age just 18, hope she's able to enjoy it as well. Sometimes the younger athletes just come out without too much fear. They don't know anything different. And that is a big improvement for someone who, at the end of round 1, was lying in 12th place overall. Let's see how it takes Villagos up the standings. So 51 meters, then 55. Really growing into the competition.
And that's her mum, Jedi Villagos, who's also a coach. So she's happy with that performance from her daughter.
Yeah, look at that. Close to Spatakova, 59.64 in 4th place. On to Madala Palamaka, with Sengo having passed her 3rd round attempt, which is interesting. Palamaka very frustrated with that. Javelin falling way short of what you'd have expected from someone. 55 so far. She's in 7th spot, with a chance for other athletes to improve and put her out of the competition, including the experienced Martina Rataj, the silver medalist from last time out, and Annika Fuchs, the German.
So it's Bokanda Leitabere. Brought the bar down with his first attempt at 5.65. Now the popular German figure gets himself over. He's vaulted better on many occasions this year, but that was a nice, clean, solid clearance. And he'll be still in the competition when the bar goes up to 5.75 very shortly. Technically spot on. Perhaps he just slowed the run up down just a little bit to make sure he could get the plant and the elevation. As you can see there, 7 men over this height already.
On to the 3rd heat of the women's 100-metre hurdles. So I mentioned that there'll be 3-time qualifiers. The times at the moment, 13:39 to 13:49 for Zapalska, Helpbeck and Massetti. Here is another Italian, Elisa Maria Di Lazzaro. Italian champion indoors and out, of course, just the 60-metre hurdles indoors. Naomi Sparden, I remember her setting a European Under-23 Championship record back in 2015. Since been broken, but someone who had a great junior career, 12:71 at best. You may be able to hear the bells out for the Swiss athletes. Again, an event where a young generation is coming through. Route of Norway there, someone who has won a 400 hurdles title at under-20 level, and is also someone with a multi-events background as a heptathlete. A full lineup: Victoria Rausch, we just missed on the inside in lane 1, one of 4 athletes from Luxembourg in this competition. The only one to progress was Patricia van der Weken, who was in the 100-metre semi-finals. Bob Bertem's Charles Grethen did not go through their heats. Then Di Lazzaro, Benach of Spain, Forster of Slovakia, Sparden of Switzerland, Lončarek of Croatia, Root of Norway, and Barbosa of Portugal. Wonderful name, Olympia Barbosa, inside this Olympiastadion in Munich. Well, straight away the recall gun goes. I had my eyes on Benach and Forster. There was a bit of movement, whether it will be judged to be before the start or indeed a false start. We'll wait and see, because there have been a number of issues across these championships.
I was talking to Chris Cohen, see the head official over on the side, at lunch yesterday, and we were asking him, is there anything particularly going on? I think it was Andrea Ruth there of Norway. There's Chris on our screens now. He said he's had more screen time than he's ever had before. He's had media requests for interviews, and they have looked and re-looked at the equipment. Andrea Ruth just using a bit of experience there to suggest that there was crowd noise. And unfortunately, the officials not accepting that explanation from Andrea Ruth. But Chris Cohen saying they've checked the equipment once, they've checked it twice, they've looked at absolutely everything. They've tried to look whether it's athletes that are tired, if they've done multiple rounds, an additional round here, whether it's athletes that have done a lot through the season. And Chris Cohen, one of the head officials here, just saying that there really is no pattern to it, but they're very confident in the equipment and their decisions.
Yeah, so we've shown the false start being given. And yeah, my assumption is they are sticking with that, or have they then decided that her protest is fair, given the crowd noise? She's gone back into her starting position.
Because of a fault with the equipment, the athlete is allowed to run under protest.
The athlete is allowed to run under protest. I heard him say that there's a fault with the equipment also. So, good to see. Rolt, young athlete, might have been so upsetting for her to be out of this heat. She has the opportunity to run under protest. So certainly some flexibility within applying those rules. Rausch, Di Lazzaro, Benach, Forster, Sparden, Lončarek, Root and Barbosa. So this time we do get underway. Good start for Forster with the sleeves for Slovakia. Benach in the red of Spain alongside her. Sparden starting to come through. Barbosa in the green of Portugal. It's going to be Di Lazzaro who takes it in the end. That was a race that chopped and changed. 13:11 on that clock. So I make that the fastest time that we've seen so far, if that's what it's given as officially. Just 100 better than Anzagre. So wait for the further positions to come up and work out who will go through to those semi-finals. Forster, delight for the Slovakian. Benach is also through. And now those in the hot seats will wait and see whether their times are indeed good enough. But Yeah, a race that ebbed and flowed, a number of changes of lead, but Di Lazzaro took it in the end.
Yes, Di Lazzaro looked very good there. She's an experienced international. She's raced at European Championships in the past, and she was only just outside the top 10 and getting a seed, so she was very much the favourite there. Slightly disappointing run from Barbosa, but Barbosa does get through to the semi-finals tomorrow night. There we can see Di Lazzaro going through a little pre-event routine. Not the best of starts from Di Lazzaro, but by hurdle 4, she's really starting to motor, and a great second half of the race from the Italian. Sabaran just stutters there. Benach, she'll be pleased with that run as well.
So 6 athletes progress from this heat, with Barbosa, Zverden and Rausch, who becomes the second out of the 4, the Luxembourg quartet, to make it through at these championships.
And Zabara next smashed the last hurdle, really struggled to stay on her feet. It was a weird race from the Swiss woman, slow start, looked great, looked like she might take the win, and then clattered the last hurdle. I think that's almost a live reaction from the Swiss fans, but luckily Naomi Zabara advancing on time. Victoria Forster was brilliant at the World Junior Championships in Nairobi last year. Saw a lot of this emotion. I think she did the flat and the hurdles out there. Here advancing in the European Senior Championships.
Yeah, so these athletes will be joined by the likes of Nadine Visser, Luka Kotchak, Serena Samba Mayela, Pia Skrahovska in the semi-finals.
And of course Ditaje Majinga Kabunji's sister, Ditaje. And Ditaje now the Swiss #1 hurdler, having taken over from Sabaran.
So there we have it, the athletes who will advance to the semi-finals of the women's 100-metre hurdles who took part in the heats. 13:40, good enough to progress for Claudia Wurtenek, who was third in that opening heat of 3. Well, high time we checked in with our field events, first of all with the pole vaults.
Torben Blay. Well, the Germans are willing him to get over this height. Third attempt at 5. Oh no, it's not going to happen for Blay. Just wasn't there. And so he's the first of the German trio to be eliminated. Never really got to grips with that third attempt. Blay, also a very good decathlete, has done 7,800 plus points, but now focusing over the last couple of years on the pole vault. Frustration, a missed opportunity in front of his home crowd. Didn't qualify for the 2019-2022 World Championship finals, but made the final this time. But it's not to be.
Male 4x400 athletes making their way into the call room. Nice moment there. The Netherlands team just sharing a hug. And the Borlays as well. That looks like the same lineup, perhaps, that they had in the heats. I think I saw Dylan Borlay was the only man that ran underneath 45 seconds yesterday. So impressive from him. Strong German quartet. Sanders, Koch, Schlegel and Schneider. Czech Republic certainly know their way around a 400 relay. French team, and then British team as well, that have brought the champion Matt Hudson-Smith into the call room. He points at his head as he pushes Alex Haydock-Wilson off. Matt Hudson-Smith listed as the lead-off runner.
Martina Rataj in this javelin final then. So we're now into the third round, as you can see, and she needs 57.93 to be in the top 8. And looks like she's done just that. So our leader remains Elena Sengo, Shilagi and Spatakova, currently as things stand, filling those medal positions. So it's come up as 59.36 for Rate. So that's her best this year by half a metre. Ogrodnikova, another certainly with the capability of improving. Kristin Husson won the title in Berlin on home soil, the championship record, and this woman was second. So where's this going to fall? I think that's going to be too far short to enable her to improve. Yes, 54-48 for Ogrodnikova. It does look like we have the two Czech athletes, two others, Spatakova in third and Tabakova, who will have 3 more efforts in the further rounds.
Well, Alexandre Bell has just seen his compatriot Torben Blay crash out. Now he's got his third attempt at 5.65. Oh, he follows Blay, brings the bar down, and he's out of contention for the medals. Disappointment etched all over his face. This time at least he went straight on at the bar rather than flying out to the right-hand side, but just didn't have the height. Disappointment there for Zernickel after a very good performance at the World Championships. In fact, finishing lower down here than he did in Eugene.
Friday's brought all the toys to the track. The mascot here for Munich. We saw them in an inflatable flamingo, and now playing with some him and Renaud Lavillenie are racing some remote control speedboats around the water jump pit. That's just disrespectful.
I've never seen a pole vaulter break. I mean, you know, there's a bit of downtime between the vaults, but I've never seen a pole vaulter playing with an electronic car in the middle of a competition.
Tabakova trying to get the crowd going here. So, in 8th position, now into the second half of this competition. Holding that javelin high on the approach run, trying to build up that speed and transfer that energy with force. Tabakova, no improvement. So, interesting to see, by the way, that I mentioned Elena Sengo passed her third round. Could be a number of reasons for that, of course. It could be that she's happy with her lead and that no one might challenge. It could be that she's carrying a slight issue, which she's just wishing to nurse at this point. Inching her way closer to the Greek national record, of course, of 67.51 from Mirella Magnani in 2000. Lena Musa, so obviously 8th to 1st with that throwing order reversed. Musa been relatively consistent so far. 3 throws within 4 meters. All of our potential medalists in the top 3 positions at the moment over 60 meters. So 57.69 for Musa, who remains where she is at this point.
It would be inspiring for these women to see a personal best from Elena Sengo, but everyone else just struggling to find their feet ever so slightly in the javelin.
So, Paul Hagen, Lillefosse, the first man to attempt 5.75. Duplantis and Lavillenie are missing this height. They'll come in at 5.85, but Hagen Lillefosse has no problem staying in the competition as well. Flawless so far with his 3 attempts. 5.50, 5.65 and 5.75 straight over for the Norwegian record holder. And a lot of height as well. I'll have to look back to see the last time a Norwegian won a medal at the pole vault. And they've already got medals here, of course, thanks to Jakob Ingebrigtsen in the 1500 metres and 5000 metres. No, he hasn't done the 1500 metres yet, just the 5000.
Lily Foster there, you can see he's right on the end of his pole. I was referred to it as capping. He might move up a pole for the next height. And, good to see the athletes being able to use this indoor track. It wasn't available earlier on in the competition. They said they might like it because it was so hot outside. Instead, in these last few days, we've been dealing more with heavy rainfall. Saw the British quartet warming up. That was the poles. Seems like Netherlands team are happy to stick it out outside. There's a bit more space out here to practice their strides, their handovers. It's pretty busy down in that indoor track.
So now, we saw them warming up earlier. It's the men's 4x400 metres final. Just looking at the start list. Well, they're not the fastest team of the season, but having brought in Matthew Hudson-Smith on the opening leg, you have to think that Great Britain, Northern Ireland are the favourites. But on the inside, this is the Italian quartet of Davide Ray, Vladimir Asete, Brian Lopez, who ran such a good race in the heat, and Eduardo Scotti. A strong Belgian team of Alexandre Doom, Julian Watrin, the Belgian 400 metres hurdler, record holder, Kevin Borley, and on this occasion it'll be Dylan Borley who has the anchor leg. The Netherlands with Isaiah Boers, then Marvin Bonavaccia, Joachim Dobber and Ramsey Angela. They've been clearly practicing their moves. I hope their baton changing is as slick. The Spanish, usually able to field a very strong quartet these days with Inaki Cañal, Luis Bua, Oscar Husilos and Samuel Garcia on the last leg. It's the same quartet that ran in the heats for the Czech Republic and ran very well, with Matej Krasek, world indoor champion on several occasions. Pavel Maslak taking the second leg. Michael Desensky, and he's followed by Patrick Sorm. The French of Gilles Biron, Loic Prévost, Theo Andon, and Thomas Hordier. Hordier, former European under-20 champion, both individually and in the 4x400 metre relay. And the Germans, big roar for Marvin Schlegel, Patrick Schneider, Mark Pott and Manuel Sanders. But for my money, these are the favourites. Interesting decision to put Hudson-Smith on the opening leg. And then it's going to be Charlie Dobson, the 200 metres finalist, on the second leg. Lewis Davey, who ran so well for Great Britain, Northern Ireland in the heats. And Alex Haydock-Wilson, the bronze medalist from the 400 metres on the anchor leg. So two individual medalists for Great Britain, Northern Ireland. They start in lane 8. Well, you can see on season's best, Great Britain, Northern Ireland, one of the weaker teams. But I think you don't need to worry too much about that. And I think the European leading times are going to be heavily revised after this race. Just a marquee card. The championship record of 2:58.22 also stands to Great Britain, Northern Ireland, and dates back to 1990. So to just see lineup. There's Alexander Doom and David Array, a few years ago Europe's #1 400 metre runner. Italian record holder, not quite in the same form at the moment. So from the inside, it's Italy, Belgium, the Netherlands, slow to get down in their blocks, Spain, Czech Republic, France, Germany, and on the outside in lane 8, Great Britain and Northern Ireland. And the stagger doesn't unwind until into the second leg. Well, Matthew Hudson-Smith only needs a couple of strides to start pulling away from his German counterpart, Manuel Sanders. Hudson Smith, though, will be running blind for this entire leg. But he's running a terrific race at the moment. Also running well is Isaiah Brewers of the Netherlands. But Hudson Smith having an absolutely blinding leg. He's run a blistering time. The rest, well, they're just battling for second place at the moment. Hudson Smith, a big gap. Coming through strongly at the moment. It's the Belgium also, as well as France. Gilles Biron once again running a good opening leg for the French. But the British hand over first. So we're just coming up to the breaking point. Charlie Dobson just about to head for the inside, and he cuts across right the way from lane 8. He's got a 2-metre advantage over Julian Watron. Watron ran Belgian national record in the 400 metres hurdles earlier in these championships, but it's Dobson, this versatile youngster, 4th in the 200 metres, and he's also a very, very accomplished 400 metre runner. And it's Dobson maintaining the lead ahead of Belgium and France. The Netherlands, Limavin Bonavaccia, straining and struggling to hand over the baton to Joachim Dobber. No doubt at all, though, Britain's Lewis Davey has got the lead, and he's starting to move away from the men behind them. It's a 4-way battle for silver and bronze at the moment, with the French in front. But right the way ahead by a good 3 metres, it's Lewis Davey. Davey running a very competent, very assured third leg for Great Britain. Round the outside, it's Oscar Husilas, who was so disappointing in the individual 400 metres. Davey now starting to strain. The Belgians and the French starting to close in on the youngster. But Davey still holding pole position. Hands over first to Alex Haydock-Wilson. The French try and get up on Haydock-Wilson's shoulder. They're queuing up behind him. But this is a man who got the bronze in the 400 metres and is a very, very good lead anchor runner. So Haydock-Wilson in front with 250 metres to go. Francis Thomas Jordier, a great relay runner in himself, tucked in behind him. The Belgians starting to slip back very, very slightly, and it's Spain in 4th at the moment with Samuel Garcia trying to get up into the medals. But it's Alex Haydock-Wilson holding the inside line, moving out into lane 2. The French and the Belgians have got to go the long way round if they're to get past Haydock-Wilson, but they don't. It's Britain, gold. We'll give you confirmation of who else gets the medals. It looks like France followed home by Belgium, but it's very, very tight. But there's no doubt at all. And a terrific anchor leg for Alex Haydock-Wilson. Truly assured. And Great Britain, Northern Ireland win that race, having got the lead almost from the very first stride of Matthew Hudson-Smith on the opening leg.
National record for Spain in 4th. That's a super impressive performance, but it did take sub 3 minutes to get into the medals. France and Belgium were pulling each other ever so close to that British team. In the last 20 or 30 metres, you thought it could be anybody's, but Alex Haydock-Wilson of Great Britain and Northern Ireland holding on. Saw that lovely moment in the call room when Matt Hudson-Smith pointed at his head. He said to Alex Haydock-Wilson, and I'm sure it was something along the lines of, you're going to have to get this really right. You could get the baton in the lead. You put the 2 weaker, inverted commas, athletes in the middle legs. Big hitters at the 1st and 3rd. What a great job from Dobson and his teammate to keep them in contention.
Well, Matthew Hudson-Smith, 2 individual golds, but he's gone from bronze in 2016, silver in 2018, and now gold with the men's 4x400 metre quartet for Great Britain and Northern Ireland.
Yeah, Belgium, of course, won this title 4 years ago, so they've swapped the top 2 back again. But Alex Haydock-Wilson was someone who was really disappointed with his run in the mixed relay at the World Championship, said he didn't feel fully up to scratch and up to speed to take part. 2 inexperienced athletes, Dobson and Davey, in the middle of things, but Haydock-Wilson in the end brought it home. You just wondered whether the Frenchman Jordier was going to come past and then try and make it a race down the home straight, but Haydock-Wilson held on to the lead right until the end.
He Dober and Desensky. This is the reality of 4x400 here. We're going to see it on the women's side as well. It's a very physical event. I mean, normally these athletes are just separated in their own lanes. It's a different beast when you turn into a relay, even more so indoors. But that's also the advantage of having a good runner on your first leg. You can separate yourself from the pack and not have to deal with any of that drama. I think that was another team tactic from Great Britain and Northern Ireland that paid off from there. For them, Dylan Borlée was fastest in the qualifying legs, the only athlete going sub 45, and that was another heroic leg from the Borlée at the European Championships, but only enough for silver today.
Well, that was also a very astute bit of running over the final 50 or 60 metres by Alex Haydock-Wilson. He gently moved out into the second lane, and he didn't impede anybody. But if the French or the Belgians or perhaps the Spaniards were to get round him, they had to go the long way. They had to run those extra metres, and in the end, they couldn't. Alex Haydock-Wilson, great tactics there down the home straight for Great Britain, Northern Ireland. A really, really clever bit of relay running from the anchor leg component of the British quartet.
So, of course, the women's 4x4 final to follow in a few moments' time. We've got to settle the pole vault for the men and the javelin for the women, and then the women's 3,000-metre steeplechase still to come this evening. Don't go anywhere.
Well, as the French settle down, they know they've got the bronze now. There's the result. Great Britain and Northern Ireland, 2:59.35, European leading time, just about a second outside the championship record, but an outstanding run from the British quartet. So it's Thibaut Collet, second attempt at 5:75. Only Lillefosse was clear on his first attempt. Collet now makes it number 2. 7 men in this competition. Lavillenie and Duplantis waiting until the bar goes up to 5:85, and they'll be joined now by Collet. Collet's father, Philippe Collet, 2-time Olympic finalist, 5 times French champion. There's a lot of input into this young man's training regime. 23 years of age. There he is, on cue, Philippe Collet, bronze medalist. Back in the mid-90s, let's say. So this is Rutger Korpela. Only a best of 5:70 this year, so this would be a season's best. But he's saved his best for these championships, that's nice. Has a best of 5:80. Didn't get out of the qualifying competition 4 years ago in Berlin, doing a lot better on this occasion. Tidy jump, very nice indeed. Doing a lot better than his compatriot Menno Vloem, who crashed out without clearing a height. Korpela has got a couple of clearances to his name. So now 3 men over 5:75. This is Sondra Thompson. He's seen his compatriot Palhagen Lillefosse go clear. Thompson, 23 years of age as well. This year's US collegiate champion, and that's nicely done. So this is starting to get to be a really interesting competition. We've lost a few vaulters, but now this is really the sharp end of proceedings. That's a good vault as well for Thompson.
You were talking, Phil, about grip in wet weather. That's Simon Guttormson, his younger brother, punching the air. He got his own footage on his smartphone. But the chalk that some athletes prefer is just not going to work on a day like today. That's going to turn to clay almost in the hands. We can see almost every one of these men Lita Bahara been the exception to the rule. Looks like he is using chalk, but there's a kind of tacky black tar that might hold up better in these wet conditions.
Yeah, so it's Lita Bahara, 5.75, and he's over. He adds his name to the collection of alters who've gone clear. Needed 2 attempts to get over 5.65, 2 attempts over 5.75, but he's the last remaining home medal hope in the competition. So the bar will now go up to 5.85. All 7 men who cleared 5.65 are still in the competition. And we do expect to see Mondo De Plantes and Renaud Lavillenie back in action very shortly. So, Lita Bahara happy with that.
We're now into the 5th round of this women's javelin final. Elena Sengo still leading. She did come back for the 4th round. 59.40, no improvement on a 65-metre effort, still 5 metres in front of the rest. This is Villagos. So in 4th place at this moment, but look at that, right on that bronze medal line of Barbara Spatakova. So you've got the youngest athlete in the field going against Spatakova, the 41-year-old, for that medal. So Villagos improving with her first 3 throws, then 56.03. And this is over 60 metres, 60.32. And look at that, 1 centimetre in front of Barbara Spatakova, the world record holder. Wow, incredible stuff. Let's see whether anyone else can improve. Spatakova pushed down to 4th. What can she do? 600 grams of javelin in her hand, launched downfield, and that once again, deja vu, is close to that bronze line, but maybe just a bit back from it.
Spatakova, she has come to this championship. She doesn't want to just take part, she certainly wants to compete. Using all of her experience here on a tricky night. It'd be amazing to see Spatakova take a medal again at European Championships, perhaps. But if she doesn't, it'd be brilliant to be denied by Adriana, Villagos and Elena Sengo, 2 young superstars. I'm sure Spatakova would respect that and want to see the event moving on, but she's got 2 more rounds.
59.99.
So Renaud Lavillenie comes back into the competition at 5.85 after an excellent clearance at 5.65. It's not to be. High point to the bar wasn't there. High point to the vault. Probably wondering whether he should have been spending his time concentrating on the vault rather than playing with electronic toys in the steeplechase pit. Who am I to say what he shouldn't or shouldn't be doing?
See, also, I think I love watching pole vault. It's so technical. The speed, you know, say that's why Mondo De Plantes is the best. He's the fastest on the runway. You've got to be technical off the end of it as well. And Villenie, just right at the end of his pole, couldn't quite get the ultimate height to pop off the top and get over the bar. You see a lovely slow motion replay at the end of the men's 4x400. It was a gold medal for Great Britain and Northern Ireland. Their men's 4x4 squad have been heavily criticised over the years. They have had funding that was cut this year, and what a way to respond. And the likes of Matthew Hudson-Smith, Alex Haydock-Wilson leading the way with their individual medals and now helping their teammates to a gold medal.
Alex Haydock-Wilson, when he's not running superb relay legs or 1 lap of the track, you know, he's actually studying for a doctorate and using solar panels as his thesis.
Conserved all of his energy for that last leg, though.
I knew you were going to come in with something like that.
Yeah, I think we did make a rule in these championships, only allowed puns in the mornings, but so I'll have to pay a fine, presumably.
Absolutely.
Elena Sengo of Greece still leading this javelin competition. A foul in the 5th round. So we lost Palamaka, Hudson, Fuchs of Germany, and Ogrodnikova, the silver medalist from Berlin 4 years ago. At the halfway stage of this competition. Tabachkova. 57.93 so far in round 3. She needs 58.11 to go up 1 place. 60.32 for a medal. So here comes the Czech athlete, building up speed, pushing all the way through the points. Bit of a resigned look. She turned away almost slightly in disgust. No improvement then. So just the top 7 left to have their final go. You can see there a lot of tape on her shoulder and elbow. The javelin, of course, so explosive, more parts of the body than you'd think. Particularly strenuous. You've seen so many great throws over the years happen to have surgery on their shoulders. Musa very, very close to the line there. And around 55 metres. But she knows that she hasn't bettered that 7th place. So the Latvians and Lithuanians neighbouring each other on the map, and just United of Lithuania 1 place above. And she'll be next to go. 58.95 for the bronze medalist from Berlin. As Musa, she will finish 7th, looks on. Just United in the yellow, green and red. Lietuva on her vest. So once again, trying to give everything in this final round. Why not? Nothing to lose at this point. But ultimately, no better in terms of distance. Well, you never know when it's going to be someone's last major final, and how long some of our experienced javelin throwers will continue at the top level, as they've done for so long. But Martina Rataj has an opportunity to get herself a medal. 4th, 6th, 6th and 7th of the last 4 editions of these championships. How badly will she want to get on this podium? Her 7th European Athletics Championships. Already her furthest throw of the year, 59.36. Just under a metre worth of improvement needed for a medal. But she can't do it on this occasion. Still hugely respectable 5th place finish. Launches that javelin ferociously, but you can see she knew. Short there of 55 metres with 53.79. Okay, so Barbara Spatakova, the world record holder now. 1 last go. This would emulate Jan Zalesny's 2006 bronze medal at the age of 40. That was his last international medal. Savour the sight of Barbara Spatakova. 3-time world champion, of course. 10 times medalist across the worlds, Europeans and the Olympics. One last time in this final. Spatakova for the Czech Republic with Zalesny watching on. Tries to attack that runway. And just on that 60-metre line, this could do it for Spatakova. What a moment to pull out everything in the final round. Waiting now anxiously. So 60-32, she only needed 1 centimetre better. 60-68. She goes up into second place. Villagos, now the 18-year-old, will have to try and respond. And then Shilagi too. But Spatakova, she knows it's not over as well. And what a moment for her teammates to watch on and be inspired by that. Javelin, it's one of those events where it's brilliant to watch just in isolation. Villagos, the young Serbian, whatever happens, she's had an incredible performance. I don't believe it. She's just pushed down Spatakova. Wow, what courage shown by the teenager. 62 metres and 1 centimetre. And she now improves on her position and leaves Shilagi of Hungary having to react. What a conclusion. So, big hugs there for Villagos. Now Shilagi of Hungary, what can she do? 60-68 needed for a medal. That's 11 centimetres improvement. Right before the line, she blocks and comes to a stop. And that javelin below what was required. Oh, so hard on her. She was in the silver spot for so long. Disappointment for the Hungarian, but we now know that Barbara Spatakova guaranteed a medal. So the world record holder at the age of 41 will stand on the podium. Sengo, our gold medalist. Can she pull out something big in this last round? Yes, she can. You can see the line of her 65-metre throw. But this has been an incredible few minutes.
And that's the fourth gold medal for Greece. Tardis Tentoglu taking the victory in the men's long jump. And Antigone and Tristan Biotti getting a pair of race walking gold medals, doing her double this morning. But Sengo of Greece, that's a brilliant effort from the youngster. She was under pressure here. She took the pressure off herself with a great first round effort exceeding 60 metres, and then built on that with a personal best in the second round, 65 metres 81. And asked questions of the rest of the athletes. You can see she's just getting in Anna Kielbashinska's way there. The female 4x4 athletes are down there quite rightly trying to set up their blocks, trying to do their strides. And Elena Sengo wanting a moment with her support team with her Greece flag wrapped around her shoulders.
So in a year, she's gone from the under-20 European champion to now the senior gold medalist in the javelin. Terrific stuff, and look at that. Elena Sengo and Barbara Spatakova on a podium together. And here we are, the full confirmed results. As Hannah was saying, another gold medal for Greece. 65-81, the best throw, and a good distance back of more than 3 metres.
But I think there needs to be a word about Adriana Villagos. I mean, just the way that she reacted, and at 18 years of age becomes the youngest ever medalist in a throwing event of either male or female gender. As we're looking now at another really very prodigious person. He was 18 when he took European gold in Berlin, and he's just gone flying over 5.85. That's Mondo De Plantes. I think they've been printing those off. So Mondo De Plantes, no problems at all at 5.85. Look at that. Soaring clearance for De Plantes. The sort of jump that the rest of the top vaulters in the world can usually only dream about. And he makes it look just so routine. There's his mother Helena and his girlfriend. You saw his dad Greg earlier, himself a world-class vaulter in the 90s. I'm sure Greg's there somewhere.
Spatakova donating her back number there to another enthusiastic fan. I think it's so lovely when people can take these numbers, maybe get them signed, put them on their wall at home. There's some lovely music going on behind for Elena Sengo of Greece. The crowd being invited to celebrate the Greek gold medal in Tathlon to some lovely music.
Wonderful symmetry, by the way. A Greek woman won the Javelin title here in 1982 and 2002, so seem to be winning it in 20-year gaps. Over to the women's 4x400 metre relay final. Thrilling finish to the men's. Great Britain, Northern Ireland, Belgium and France. Good battling. Ultimately, the former held on. So there we can see the British team. Jodie Williams has been brought in. Looks like Karolina Klavsik there, who was really upset in tears after missing out on a medal in the 400 hurdles final. Here is the German team. Thiel, Meyer, Schmidt, who has millions of followers on Instagram and TikTok, and Klavsik there will bring them home. Spanish quartet with Santiorian, Boquesa, Segura and Gallego, with some of the best dance moves in the stadium. So Great Britain, who have brought in Jodie Williams and Victoria Ahurgu, finished first at the Commonwealth Games, the English team, and were then disqualified, so there's some amends to be made there from that point of view. Belgium already with a silver medal on the men's side. Can the women match that? Berlingo, Kleis, Bonnet and Camilla Laus bring them home once again. The Irish team, well, Rashida Alaleke, a sub-50 split in qualification, and they've stayed with this settled team of Sophie Becker, Phil Healy, then Alaleke, and on to Charlene Maudsley to bring them home. Second in their heat. Now, the Netherlands, Femke Bol and Lieke Klabbe, who've raced so much at these championships. I make this Bol's 5th race of the champs. Happy birthday, Lieke Klabbe, as well, who was in the 200. But here are the defending champions. They brought in Anna Kiel-Bashinska and also Ida Baumgart-Witten. I think that's the right decision. And Kazmarek, who broke the national record, first Polish woman to run sub-50 seconds, to bring them home. So always a fast finisher. That would be really interesting to watch on that last leg. Fairly young Swiss team with 22-year-old Silke Lemmens starting them off. Well, fascinatingly, 6 different nations have won at the last 6 editions of these championships. Poland, Kiel-Bashinska to lead them off. At the Netherlands, it will be interesting. No disrespect to the other 2 runners in their team, but Femke Bol and Lieke Klabbe just a level up, so that'll be interesting to see as well. So Germany, Spain, Britain, Belgium, Ireland, Poland and Switzerland. You feel as though it's between Poland, the Netherlands and Great Britain. Ireland will have a great opportunity for a medal. Rashida Alaleke, another who's had so many races, not just at these championships, but across this year, a national record individually. She finished 5th in the 400 metres. So, real tension and excitement ahead of this final. The last team to defend the women's 4x4 crown was Germany in 2002 in this very stadium in Munich. And it's the home nation going on the inside in lane 1. Spain in 2, Great Britain, Northern Ireland in 3, Belgium in 4, then Ireland, the Netherlands, Poland and Switzerland. Well, the Polish quartet have been billed as the Golden Girls, with advertisements for championship courage featuring them stepping out of glossy cars wearing sunglasses. But what kind of shape are they in? Disappointed a little at the World Championships, but they are the Olympic silver medalists, and they have strengthened their team come this final, with Kilbashinska on this opening leg as we wait for the stagger to unwind on that second leg. Bolingo there for Belgium, and Ohurigu of Great Britain, emulating her sister, the British national record holder, and improving significantly this year. Would have expected her be in this kind of form a couple of years ago, but a late bloomer. So Baumgart-Witter now has the baton for Poland, but Belgium going really well on this second leg, and the Netherlands a little way back, but Lieke Klaver with a chance to push them up. Phil Healy of Ireland in 5th place, so important from their point of view that Adeleke has a good sight in front of her. No doubt that she'll try and make up some ground. So Britain from Belgium, Poland and the Netherlands, the top 4 who've broken away here. Lieke Klaver, who says she enjoys running the 200, but of course helping the Netherlands win the 4x4 European indoor title in Torun last year. On to De Witt, as we see Germany and Switzerland battling some way behind. So Jodie Williams moving to the 400 metres over the last couple of years, but concentrating on the 200 in this event. Leading for Great Britain and doing a good job, just opening up that gap. Adeleke passing Germany and hoping to overtake Switzerland as well, but she's well back in 5th place. Pretty much deja vu from 400 metres ago. Adeleke doing a solid job, but still it's going to be Britain and Belgium who battled, of course, in the men's race, but the Belgians just going in front. So it's Camilla Laus against Nicole Jürgen and Femke Bol. The Netherlands are right where they'd want to be at this point. And then Kazmanek of Poland, the incredible finisher. Well, Natalia Kazmanek, 49.86, the Polish record holder at home in Silesia in the Diamond League recently. Bol, who already has 2 gold medals at these championships. Jürgen tries to use her shoulders to go around the outside, but is out-muscled by Femke Bol, who's on her way to win her 3rd gold of these championships, with Kazmarek coming through for silver. What an incredible championships from Femke Bol. Yet more Dutch delight. 3:20.87. Well, we wondered whether the Dutch had the full strength in depth to do what they did at the European indoors, but oh yes they did. They've beaten the Golden Girls of Poland and the Brits.
It was a really close race down to the wire with 200 metres to go. You needed some 800-metre tactics in there, positioning around that final bend. But the Netherlands coming out strongly in the end. Femke Bol, it almost looked like she was biding her time on the back straight, just waiting, not wanting to kick too early, not wanting to be vulnerable in the last 100 metres, and tears all around from the Netherlands team. But Lieke Klaver ran a really brilliantly strong second leg as well, powered her team right up to the 4. They then got caught up. It was a very messy handover between some of the latter legs, and I do think the team from the Netherlands doing really well to manage to come home for the gold medal. And a lot of that credit certainly has to be given to Femke Bol. She's inviting the other athletes that ran in the heats to come in the lap of honour. I think they're going to lead them to it, but that's a lovely touch from Femke Bol.
But the athletes who ran in the heats will also get medals, and they are also allowed to stand on the podium. There's Friday getting in the action, the irrepressible European Championships mascot.
So it's a gold for the birthday girl, Lika Klaver. And so wonderful to see the team celebrations, the whole squad part of this and training together. Think about those that don't get to run as well. They're part of the drills. They watch on nervously to see what will happen. So we have a look at some of the highlights of this race.
In the press conference, Femke Bol was asked, what is going on in Holland? Why are you guys so good? She credited their training base and their team atmosphere. She said, we're all having fun, we're all working together, our coaches communicate well. And when you have a lovely, nurturing, but high-performance environment like that, that's when you see these fantastic performances coming out time and time again. Femke Bol, of course, one of the best athletes in this squad from the Netherlands, but they're all doing really, really well. They're all running lifetime bests. They're out here pushing each other to be the very best versions of themselves that they can. Natalia Kaczmarek of Poland was trying to track Femke Bol. Femke Bol made a move with around about 100 metres to go that the pole couldn't quite cover, but she measured her effort really well to pick up a silver medal for Poland. Not quite enough to defend their title, but a really good showing from the Polish 4x4. They were out of sorts at the World Championships, and they've come back here a lot stronger at the European Championships.
What I'd like to know is how Femke Bol is now going to celebrate. You'd expect a glass of champagne, but I suspect she's also so tired. All she wants to do is go to bed now and just get herself ready for the international circuit over the next 3 weeks, which will conclude the season with Diamond League stops in Lausanne, Belgium and Zurich. But all credit, she's without doubt, and I don't think anyone would begrudge me saying this, the female star of these championships.
Absolutely cannot beat 3 golds with Femke Bol. It's good that she was excused from the heats in this. We saw her at the Olympics do so many of the rounds, but she deserves a bit of energy for her individual exploits. A good bronze medal for Great Britain and Northern Ireland. And a lot of good tactical positioning going on towards the end of their leg as well. And that's great to see both 4x4 squads pick up medals on the British side. Confirmed result for the women's 4x4 relay. Netherlands, European lead and the win at 3:20. Poland just a second or so behind. Great Britain and Northern Ireland in third.
So Lita Bayre, after scraping over 5.75, he's the last German in this competition. Second attempt at 5.85 and he keeps his interest. And the crowd are absolutely delighted. He's delighted. There's a huge contingent of German pole vault fans on the far side of the stadium. They know it's going to be tough to beat Mondo De Plantes, but Gokinda Lita Bayre, well, he's got every chance of taking a medal here. And a terrific vault as well. He's had a good 2022. He was 7th in the World Championships, 5th going back to 2019, but nevertheless, useful performance in Eugene. '19 under 23 champion. So now it's the turn of Palhagen Lillefosse. Third and final attempt. He looked so good at the earlier heights. Can he? No. Oh dear. Never got to the heights and then spread-eagled around the bar. But at the moment, as things stand, he's still in the medal position with that clean sweep up to 5.75. Only 2 men over. Duplantis with those 2 soaring clearances. Bokanda Lita Bayre. Just manages to avoid it becoming very painful. scissors action there. The result's the same. The bar comes down. He gets a cross and a red light. So Renaud Lavigny gambled with missing 575. He's had 2 failures. Oh, he was close, but the 3-time European champion ends up out to the medals on this occasion. So we've still got 3 men to attempt this height. We've got Thompson, Collet and Coppola. Can one of them get over? Can they challenge Duplantis and Litabare? Now it's Thibaut Collet. Needed 2 attempts to get over 565 and 575. Duplantis urging him on. Quick on the run up, looking determined. Takes it off going up, brings it down with his feet, and Collet leaves this competition. Currently in 5th place, so he won't get a medal. Duplantis and Litabare clear at 585. Lillefosse, with no failures up to 575, is in the bronze medal position at the moment. Now Coppola jumped to season's best of 575. This would be a personal best for the Dutchman, as a personal best at 580. Oh no, just wasn't there, just didn't have the commitment. Nevertheless, a good performance from the Dutchman, and a nice little acrobatic finale for the fans. Nevertheless, I'm sure he's very happy at what he just saw with his compatriots, the women's 4x400 metre team taking gold. And he's got a few reasons to celebrate himself. That was a good performance, all things considered, from Coppola. Neil finished 4th. 1 man to vault. Guttormson. Well, if he clears this, he gets a medal, and he pushes his compatriot Lillefosse out. And if he doesn't, he finishes down in 6th, and it is the latter. Guttormson down in 6th place. And Lillefosse, well, former European under-18 and under-20 champion. He's now going to be on the podium very shortly in these senior European Athletics Championships. He knows he's got a medal. It'll be the bronze. And the bar will go up to 590. Just 2 men left in after this failure. Okander Litabare of Germany. Germany's first gold medal of the night. First medal, I should say. Certainly not a gold guaranteed. Up against the rather overwhelming favourite. Perhaps, if anybody, even Femke Bol, most prohibitive favourite of these championships. Here's his girlfriend. So, 590, first attempt for Mondo De Plantes. Well over, no problems. Looking impassive. Well, it was nail-biting stuff in Berlin 4 years ago as he cleared 6 meters and then 6:05. No such tension this time. We know he's the world's best. He's gone on to claim Olympic titles. Just missed out on the world title in 2019 to Sam Kendricks, but made amends last month in Eugene, added that to his portfolio. Good selection of poles there, probably about 4 or 5 poles. Different rigidities depending on the heights he's taking. When he gets up to a really high height, it'll be a very, very stiff pole. But these sort of heights, not quite as stiff. A squirrel on stilts, you don't see that very often.
Let's hope he's not going to have a go at pole vault. That would be pretty perilous. And stilts might be useful. But, Bleedy, maybe getting pole position to have a look over the water jump. We've got the women's steeplechase coming up. So the section of the track that the squirrel is on at the moment is only going to be used in the first lap. I hope they know that and he won't be there when they start. But it could be a good vantage point to keep an eye on this men's pole vault and the women's steeplechase.
But I've just realised what Pridey's favourite cheese is. Stilton.
And that's another fine for Phil Minshall to go with Alex Selfhills and Settles. Pun fine. We are only allowed puns in morning sessions at the European Athletics Championships. If I'd known that it was fair game this evening, there'd been a whole lot more up
you'd have scripted a couple. Anyway, let's get down to the serious stuff. Bokanda Litabare had a failure at 590 just before Mondo De Plantes. We didn't see it, but Litabare has now passed up and will take his 2 further attempts potentially at 595. The rules are that you're eliminated with 3 consecutive fouls. Most of the time that's at the same height, but you are allowed to keep passing up and up until you've got 3 consecutive fouls if you're trying to regain the initiative. Litabare knows that he's got the silver medal and he's got 2 minutes, as you can see on the clock, to take his vault. No shortage of support for the German. They're getting prepared. Litabare, solid in the silver. No, didn't quite make it. This would be a personal best for Litabare. Cleared 590 earlier in the season. 2019 European Under-23 champion. Very, very solid performer on the international circuit over the course of the last couple of years. Just wondering whether mentally the emotions just ebbed away. He knows he's got the silver. He knows he's up against Duplantis. Duplantis, I'm just looking to see when Duplantis was last defeated. Well, he's got an 18 competition win streak. Last time was 28th of August last year when he lost in Lausanne. It's pretty tall order on any day of the week to beat Duplantis at the moment.
What has been impressive is quite how much Mondo De Plantes is clearing these heights by. We love it when he jumps over 6 meters. He loves to bring the occasion to the fans and make the most of everything. But conditions as they were throughout the day, I thought, are we really going to see another over 6 meter performance for Mondo De Plantes? The bar at 595 at the moment. You've got to think his own championship record of 605 could be threatened for the margin at which he's bettering these heights.
And it's interesting to see him take this vault at 595. No problems once again. Just makes it look so easy, as we all say so often. There he goes. Little salute to the crowd. Takes a bow. I think the conditions are not conducive to the very highest heights, and that's why he took 595 rather than passing up to 6 meters. And he's using a slightly softer pole than we saw him use at the World Championships when he was going for those heights at 6 meters and above.
Yeah, I wrote down yellow pole, 5 meters and 90, because I love the complicated technical elements here. I wonder if we're going to see a different pole. I saw him put it away and I thought maybe he's going to pull out a different one, but the again, you know, I questioned why would you not just start on the stiffest pole and get totally acquainted with that. But it's a higher risk, and you need to make sure you stay in the competition and you keep that clean scorecard. So the athletes will carry around a number of poles throughout the championships, and there's his mum and dad. They're going to be analysing every angle, every foot strike. Yeah.
Having said that, they look very relaxed. I mean, I think they're fairly confident that a gold medal is going back to Sweden. Here we see a replay. Soaring clearance once again. His high point's probably at around 6:10.
Remember his dad saying she drags the pole into the box. He scuffs the ground with it because when he was little, he refused to jump with shorter poles. He said, no, I want to jump as high as I can. He was learned his craft on poles that were probably too long for him. And he drags it slightly on the track before it goes into the box, before he plants it. And his dad's sort of saying, well, just make the box bigger, help the guy out. Because it's going to pick up a tiny bit of friction as he hits the track. But I mean, it's infinitesimal. But when you're hunting down world records, every little could count.
So now Bokanda Litabaire. Crisis, well, not really. Crunch jump for Bokanda Litabaire. He knows he's secure with the silver medal. If he clears, he carries on in this competition. If he fails, he's out, and it becomes a demonstration for Mondo De Plantes. This would be a personal best for Litabaire. I would be hugely surprised if he gets it on a night like this, despite the crowd getting behind him and also the sporting support of the rest of the vaulters. Well, it was a much better vault than his previous two, but he still brings the bar down. And gold goes to Mondo De Plantes, silver to Bokanda Litabaire, and bronze to Palhauga Lillafossa. Now it's just a question of how high does the bar go for Mondo De Plantes. They're asking him what he wants. Well, there's no real value in him attempting 6 meters. I think he'll probably put it up to 6:06, which would be a championship best. I'm not too sure he'd go up to World Championship heroics. 6:06 for a championship best would be my guess. And congratulations, firstly from his fellow German teammates, and then everybody else. Dominic Alberto, who crashed out without clearing a height there in the Swiss tracksuit top. Lillafossa has got himself a Norwegian flag. He'll be taking a lap of honour with Litabaire and De Plantes a little bit later.
And there begin the discussions between Mondo De Plantes and his father Greg. Just sat down there on the step, kind of going, what do you feel? What are you going to attempt? A lot of okays, they're in agreement.
I was interested to see sitting next to Greg De Plantes was the French decathlete Baptiste Thierry, a 570 vaulter himself, possibly picking up a few tips for the future.
Put his notebook in his camera to try and take note. We have one track race left this evening. It's the women's 3,000 metre steeplechase final, and Louisa Gager of Albania, until probably a few days ago, would have thought she was a shoo-in for this gold medal until Lizzie Bird went really fast in Monaco. Leah Meyer is the German champion. She's on posters all around the city centre here. Leah Meyer, another fantastically popular German athlete. They've got great following here in their home nation. Michelle Finn, Nishmash Rimjak of Slovenia, she's on a comeback from injury. Now Lizzie Bird has that blue number because she went all the way down to 9 minutes and 7 seconds at the Monaco Diamond League. Took a whopping 7 seconds off the British record. Louisa Gager of Albania holds every national record from 800 to marathon, including this, the steeplechase. She was 5th at the World Championships, a top European in Oregon. And I wouldn't be surprised if Louisa Gager made this race fast. Maybe not from the start. She might wait a little bit. Elena Boucard is very experienced. She's done so many championships. And she thanks the crowd for their support. Robles did a personal best at the World Champs. Got full 15 athletes down there. Amy Pratt was 7th at the World Championships. Second European home there. She was really excited to see what she could do with the rest of the summer. Similar to Dina Asher-Smith and Jasmine Sawyers, Ailish McColgan, Amy Pratt, another athlete, talking about the effects of the menstrual cycle on their bodies and how they compete, because Amy Pratt was bitterly disappointed with the 4th place at the Commonwealth Games. And then had to watch on as Lizzie Bird took that national record. Just over 7.5 laps of the track. Mondo De Plantes, the only other competitors still out there active. And these 15 women hauling themselves round the outside of the track, over 35 barriers. And Louisa Gager of Albania to the fore straight away. She's super quick over a range of distances. It's at least 4:03 or so, her Albanian record on 1500 metre speed. But she's carving out a brilliant career over steeplechase. For a few years, it was the Americans, the likes of Emma Coburn, getting involved with the African athletes, and Courtney Frericks and Geza Krauser sort of started the charge of the European athletes, getting them involved on a global stage. And Louisa Gager very much holding that mantle now. Geza Kraus would have been the 3-time defending champion. I think that's why we've seen this event timetabled at the end of day 6 here at the European Championships. Geza Krauser just struggling with injury, but she's inspired her nation super well. Leah Mayer of Germany is pushing herself to new heights with every season that goes by. So Louisa Gager through the 400 metre mark, I think, in around about 70, which is very swift, but that first quarter often is. They haven't got as many barriers to get over, and they haven't got the water jump. Here's our first look at the water jump. Hurdling any of these barriers in a big group is a change for a lot of these athletes. So they're competing at a national level at home. They might be out at the front on their own, getting a clear sight of the barrier, and suddenly they've got to learn to hurdle in a group. Geza Krauser was supreme at that, and she's dominated this event for the last few years. But Louisa Gager out the front at the moment. Swiss athlete Chiara Scherder is the new national record holder for Switzerland. She bettered the mark of Fabian Schlumpf at the Paris Diamond League. Lizzie Bird ran a small national record at the Paris Diamond League as well. Our Europeans have had a really good time, particularly Stockholm and Paris. Alice Finot of France, another athlete that has catapulted up the European rankings this season, unfortunately injuring herself at the World Championships. She's not able to be here. Louisa Gager, Lizzie Bird, the fastest on paper. Likes of Shura, Mayer, Amy Pratt certainly got a claim at a medal.
Well, as you say, Hannah, it's a slightly different complexion to, let's say, some of the Diamond League circuit and World Finals. Not many of these women have the experience of being part of this competition. We've been waiting all night for this final. I've been waiting all summer for it, just to see what it'd be like. No, Geza Krauser, but Louisa Gager is the one with the experience, and she's taken out this final nicely.
Right, it is indeed a championship record bar of 6:06. Mondo's going to try and get it in while the women's 3,000 metre steeplechase is going on. This is Mondo De Plantes' first attempt to add a centimetre to his own championship record. De Plantes plants, De Plantes flies, and he's over! 6 metres and 6 centimetres for Mondo De Plantes. Well, on a chilly evening like this, and a damp evening when it's difficult to go at full speed down the run-up, that is an absolutely huge performance. He's gone over 6 metres in the past on several occasions in rainy and damp conditions, but that was an absolutely marvellous vault. What's he going to do now? Is he going to put it up to 4? How much further can he put it up? Maybe 6 metres 22. He's got nothing to lose. What a stunning vault. That, for my money, could have been a world record vault if the bar had been up at 6:22. Huge clearance. His high point was probably at around 6:25. Yes, his chest was close to the bar, and he still hasn't had a failure in this competition. The rest of the world just has to watch, and just there, watching all. And his mum and dad, Greg and Helena, looking rather impassive. They think it's just another day in the office, it seems. But no, that is absolutely stunning vaulting from Mondo De Plantes. And he's getting the congratulations already, once again, of all the other vaulters.
3.5 laps left in the women's steeplechase. Louisa Gager of Albania poured on the pressure. She started this move around about 2 laps ago. I thought Lizzie Bird of Great Britain and Northern Ireland might have missed the move, but she's managed to get herself up into second place. Amy Pratt, Liam Mayer, Scherer of Switzerland working hard for that bronze medal position. Louisa Gager did a 3-minute first kilometre. We've just seen a championship record from Mondo De Plantes. Championship record in this event stands at 9 minutes and 17. Louisa Gager surely is going to be miles under that. And it might not even be the Albanian that takes the gold medal, because Lizzie Bird is sticking to her like glue. They've gone through 3 laps to go. They're coming up to the final kilometre.
But if Louisa Gager can hang on, this would be a huge piece of history for Albania, a country that's never won an Olympic medal in any sport. But this woman has been the flag bearer for them at the last 2 games. Her silver medal from 2016, their best performance ever at these championships. She could well, surely at least match that.
3:07 second kilometre for Louisa Gager. We have chucked in a few extra barriers and a water jump, so she's maintaining a fantastic tempo here, probably right around her personal best mark of 9 minutes and 10 seconds. But Louisa Gager takes a look over her shoulder. There are so many championships, so many races where you can hear your competitors, but not here in Munich. They are roaring. They've been treated to a wonderful spectacle of Mondo De Plantes and a championship record. And now Leah Mayer is eating up ground on Lizzie Bird and Louisa Gager. She's having a run of her life. I thought we might be looking for Amy Pratt to catch Leah Mayer, but with 2 laps to go, it's Albania in 1. Great Britain and Northern Ireland in 2nd, and Germany in 3rd. We've seen so many inspired German performances here on this track. Could Leah Mayer be about to deliver another? She's 15 seconds slower on personal best than Louisa Gager. Much more, another 3 seconds slower than that behind Lizzie Bird. But Leah Mayer having the run of her life at the moment.
Wow, Mayer just joining our top 2. Gager, she's led for so long. How much does she have left?
Louisa Gager, for the first time, opens up daylight between her and Lizzie Bird. The graphic is telling us it's 5 metres between Gager and Lizzie Bird. There's a roar from the crowd because Leah Mayer has overtaken and gone into the silver medal position, and Leah Mayer just bravely striking out Lizzie Bird atop of the European rankings with her 9:07. And at the moment in the bronze medal position. But just as I say that, Lizzie Bird responds. We see this at the British Championships very often from Lizzie Bird. She often, the penultimate lap doesn't look so special, and then she lifts and she drives. In many steeplechase fields, Lizzie Bird would have one of the fastest personal bests at around about 4:12, but Louisa Gager is on another planet in terms of 1500 metre running, and at the moment is just stretching away from Lizzie Bird and Leah Mayer. Louisa Gager hits the top of the back straight. She's got over that barrier cleanly. She's got 2 barriers and 1 water jump to go to take the gold medal for Albania. She took a silver behind Geza Krauser 4 years ago. Silver in Amsterdam in 2016. Apologies, a while ago, and then Gager came and did 1500 metres for a while, experimented with the half marathon, with the marathon. But Louisa Gager of Albania back in the steeplechase, surely her best event. She is so good over the barriers. defying logic. She shouldn't be. She's a bit shorter than some of her competitors, but Louisa Gager clearly works incredibly hard at her technique. And Leah Meyer, this is an incredible performance. Lizzie Bird looking to be struggling. Louisa Gager safely over the final barrier. She's going to take a gold medal for Albania. No medal so far for Albania anywhere else on this European Athletics Track Championships. And Louisa Gager looks like she's crying across the line. With 9:11, a championship record. Leah Meyer, a huge personal best and a silver medal. And a very tired Lizzie Bird holds on for a bronze medal. Lizzie Bird went for it, tried to match the move of Louisa Gager. Leah Meyer, what a well-judged middle kilometre. She had the bravery and the commitment to pull herself past the likes of Lizzie Bird and Amy Pratt and the other athletes that were trying to compete behind. A massive personal best for Leah Meyer as well, 10 seconds, lowering from 9:25, that was already a personal best this season, all the way down to 9:15. It's a shame not to see Geza Krause go for a hat trick for Germany in front of a home crowd, but Leah Meyer giving this stadium a lot to cheer about.
They will be dancing in the streets of Tirana and in Gager's hometown of Diba in the north east of the country tonight. What a performance. Their first gold medal at these championships. Never won a medal at the World Athletics Championships or the Olympic Games, Albania. Truly incredible stuff. And you know what? She ran that gun to tape as though no one was ever going to come past her. Incredible stuff. Meyer really got the lift of the crowd to step through into second place to get that silver for Germany. And look how tired Lizzie Bird is. Credit to her, though. She would have been waiting for the European Championships to be a medal contender. Someone who was an immigration officer until a couple of years ago and committed to athletics to try and achieve something like this. You can see some tired athletes well down there who couldn't live with that opening pace. Couldn't believe it, Hannah. 3 minutes for the opening kilometre. Absolutely extraordinary for Gager. You just wondered if the 33-year-old was going to tire at some point. But it's been a night of athletes just giving energy until the last. Just like Femke Bol. How many races has she had? What incredible form from Louisa Gager. And she's the champion for Albania.
Louisa Gager coming off that brilliant 5th place at the World Championships. That was a quick race. There was other athletes that made that running. And I did think if Louisa Gager realised, that was brought out her very best performance, her 5th place at the World Championships. And to do that when you're following other athletes, whether that's at a Diamond League or at a World Championships, is one thing. But Louisa Gager showing so much poise and experience to lead this final gun to tape. So 3 minutes, a 3:07, and then a 3:04 last kilometre, mainly on her own. And she's so good at hurdling. There is an advantage of leading in steeplechase as well. You get a clear sight at the barrier. You've not got to worry about everyone else behind you slowing down, speeding up, swinging wide. Louisa Gager could just run the rail the whole way through, and she got almost a lap of honour on her own in the race. She pulled away from everybody else. Look at her sighting that barrier, gets over it, and then checks the big screen. Such is the experience of the Albanian athlete. And it was at this point, around about 350 metres to go, and Leah Meyer overtook an athlete that has just run 18 seconds faster than she ever has. Little did we know, Leah Meyer was on for a 10-second personal best in front of the home crowd. Inspired and brave, much like Constanza Klosterhalf and Richard Ringer, gold medalists in the endurance events. Leah Meyer bringing her very, very, very best at home championships. Berlin was special 4 years ago. Munich has been very kind to its local athletes. But Louisa Gager, immediate outpouring of emotion.
I think we all have to fight off the tears after watching Louisa Gager win there. Look at that Meyer, what it means to her. Lizzie Bird, well, tough to take. She looked exhausted over the last couple of laps, but she did still intelligently try to save something for the final 400. So tactically, pretty good as well. Athletes dropping well back behind. Amy Pratt was in 4th at one point, but dropped to 7th over the last couple of laps. So just tells you how much was taken out of some of these athletes in this field. That might be Albania's best ever performance in any sport. I'll have to have a think. I know they've qualified for some European championships in football, which might get some fans excited, but individually, This is beyond heroic.
Confirmed result for the women's steeplechase. Louisa Gager with a championship record 9:11 from Leah Meyer of Germany with a huge 10-second personal best 9:15. Lizzie Bird of Great Britain and Northern Ireland picking up the bronze medal with 9 minutes and 23 seconds.
Well, Mondo De Plantes, after that clearance and a championship record height of 6 metres and 6 centimetres, has decided to retire from the competition. No world record attempts, unfortunately, although on a night like this you can certainly empathise and understand that. And it's the 3 pole vaulters, Bokanda Litabaire getting a silver medal just a few minutes before Leah Meyer went and got that magnificent and unexpected second place in the steeplechase. And they're accompanied by the Norwegian bronze medalist, Paul Haugen Lillefosse. They're just circling the track now. It was the first event to start well over 2 hours ago. Well, this is the man everyone came to see, but they've also been rewarded with silver medals. So Mondo De Plantes confirmation, 6:06 championship record for Armand De Plantes. His 51st ever clearance at 6 metres or better. What a performer. There's the full lineup and rundown of the results. Well, Lillefosse, unexpected bronze for Norway. He was producing some very, very clean and tidy clearances in the early part of the competition, was flawless until he had 3 failures at 5.85. Litabaire got himself over 5.85 at the second attempt, just to briefly put a little bit of pressure on Mondo De Plantes.
Lizzie Bird still very much catching her breath after that bronze medal. Good silver at the Commonwealth Games and then a brilliant British record at the Monaco Diamond League. And I think Lizzie Bird might have hoped for a tiny bit more here at the European Championships, but nonetheless, she's got so much better in this season. Leah Meyer Kabersi, tears of joy for the young German national champion. I'm sure she would have been inspired by Geza Krause's pair of titles in the last couple of years. And Leah Meyer pushing herself to a brilliant silver medal. And she committed, she went so hard, so early on. And as the pace lifted, Leah Meyer should get a bit of a medal for bravery alongside her silver medal.
I'm going to call this the night of icons. Louisa Gager, you know, I said that she'd been the flag bearer at the Olympics in 2016 and 2020, winning their first ever gold at these championships. Femke Bol becoming the second Dutch woman to win 3 golds at the same European Championships after Fanny Blankers-Koen in 1950. And then, of course, Mondo De Plantes taking the title here. Barbara Spatakova getting a medal, the world record holder at the age of 41. Truly all iconic.
Tears of delight as she crosses the line for Louisa Gager. I think she has some sense of what she means to Albanian sporting history. Many, many times the Albanian Sportswoman of the Year. And more tears as Leah Meyer follows her home in second place.
An image similar to Laura Muir and Ciara McGeehan after that women's 1500 metre final, isn't it? Embracing while exhausted, laying flat on the track after giving your all.
There's Elena Burkhardt. Until just a few minutes ago, probably considered to be Germany's #1 steeplechaser. In the absence of Geza Krause, now that mantle passes to Leah Meyer.
Louisa Gager giving herself a moment to appreciate quite what she's done, and she was straight over to give everybody else a hug. She's a very popular woman on the circuit, very friendly, and like I say, she's done every distance. National record holder from 800 to marathon. She's played around with those distances over the last few years. the medal all the way back in 2016 in this event, silver then. And I think she did spend an Olympic cycle deciding, is steeplechase exactly the right event for me? And she's back at it, and you've got to say it suits the Albanians so well. Lizzie Bird making her way around a lap of honour as well. These women are only about 100 metres into their circuit. It's the opposite of... so I think Femke Bol took a seat halfway down. Sandra Perkovic was bounding around with her 6th gold medal. These steeplechasers very, very tired. It's been a long summer. They went to the World Championships as well and running multiple rounds in steeplechasers, super hard on the body, big impact coming up and down off all those barriers.
We talked a lot about trebles tonight. Well, we haven't mentioned that this is a Balkan, Mediterranean and European treble. I wonder how many athletes have done that over the years.
Not that many, I would imagine, over the years. And they're still going around the track. I have a feeling that Louisa Gager could keep on going until midnight. She's so pleased with her performance. Just wonder how many Albanian spectators and supporters there are in the audience. I mean, obviously there's a few other Albanian competitors who will be there, and the Albanian coaches. You're right, they're chatting away there, swapping anecdotes and stories. There was an impressive championship record as well, taking roughly 6 seconds off the previous best. This is a year, though, as you rightly were saying, it's been dominated by the Africans, the Americans, with Emma Cochran and Courtney Frerich has shown a few years ago, but now the Europeans are now really starting to get up there and get alongside the very best in the world.
It's actually only the 6th edition of the Women's Steeplechase at European Championships as well. This didn't come into the main athletics programme for quite a while. And it created a real opportunity for a lot of our athletes that for perhaps good 3,000 metre flat runners, but that's only an event indoors. See, Lizzie Bird is taking a moment. She looks pretty dizzy. She was exhausted over the line, and you think someone should be kind of red in the face when they've been doing a lot of exercise. Lizzie Bird looked very pale. I think she absolutely emptied the tank. But Germany have picked up loads of medals over these 6 editions of the European Championships. Geza Krause getting some of them, but not all of them. And Leah Meyer can add her name to German European female steeplechase medalists. Geza Krause, of course, converting that into a bronze on a world level. Could we see something similar from Leah Meyer as we look towards the World Championships next year and the Olympics?
Yeah, a real confidence boosting performance in that sense when you know that you're one of the best in Europe. It also helps you get invites, I'm sure, onto the Diamond League circuit and to be at some of the best one-day meetings to try and compete against the Africans and the Americans. The only time Germany haven't been on the podium was the first time the steeplechase was held at these championships back in 2006.
So here's the overall athletics medal table, and it's still Germany on top of it with 5 gold medals. But tonight, thanks to Keely Hodgkinson and the Great Britain's men's 4x400 metre team, they've also got 5 gold medals as well. Germany, 18 medals overall. Here's the full rundown. And there you see, well, you don't see it very often, a gold medal for Albania. No less than 21 different countries have got gold medals so far at these championships. We've got 41 medals now having been awarded. We've got another 7 tomorrow night. And this is the overall medal table for the multi-sport European Championships, which embraces 9 different sports. Germany still on top of it with 21 golds and 48 medals in total. Great Britain creeping up on them, 19 golds and just one short on the overall medals. So we just roll down. This really does give an impression of sporting strength right the way across Europe. Many countries on there. All the way down, even including Luxembourg getting a bronze. The sports encompass table tennis, triathlon, gymnastics, and many more. So darkness slowly descending on Munich, the Bavarian capital. Spectators leaving the Olympic Stadium. This is what we've got for you tomorrow. We've got 7 finals, including both 4x100 metre relays. That'll bring the 25th edition of these European Athletics Championships to a conclusion. Terrific women's high jump in prospect as well. So this has been a historic night. Great Britain, Northern Ireland, 123 gold medals now. They go to the top of the overall medal table. Albania, their very first medal. Time to say goodnight.
You're listening to coverage of the European Athletics Championships. We created this audio stream to make sure that, no matter where you are, you can keep up with all the action from Munich. If you'd prefer to watch our live coverage or to check out the highlights, head to athletics.eurovisionsports.tv. We'll either give you access to our live stream or we'll link you to your local broadcaster. Wherever you live, athletics.eurovisionsports.tv will guarantee you some way of watching the coverage live. All the best moments, all the medals. Don't miss a second of Munich 2022 on All Athletics. It's the end of the evening session here at the European Athletics Championships in Munich. Here's some of the athletics highlights from today. Women's 800 meters.
They're coming round with 150 metres to go. It's Keely Hodgkinson from Gemariki. Renelle Lamotte of France trying to get herself back on the podium. Here comes the strong pole, Villagos. Could she get herself among the medals? Keely Hodgkinson is striding away. Renelle Lamotte is powering through into a silver medal. It could be 3 silvers for the French athlete. Keely Hodgkinson takes the win. Renelle Lamotte second. Anna Villagos, a brilliant closing 100 metres. Laura Hoffman of Switzerland got a sneaky move on the inside. And Gemariki, it was almost a replay at the Olympic Games. She was in a medal position until the closing 80 metres and just faded. So she really put herself in it to try and run with Keely Hodgkinson. But Keely picking up a gold medal to go with her 2 silvers from the major championships. Hats off, that was a really well-controlled, tactically judged race from young Keely Hodgkinson.
Keely, European champion. What did that one do to you?
It does mean a lot. It's been a very long season of lots of silvers. So as much as I'm grateful for the silvers, I'm just happy to get the gold. So I'm happy I executed well, and I'm ready to go back to bed because I am tired. But I'm very happy to go with the medal.
And your eyes were bright, and you had a little smile in those last 20 metres. What were you thinking down that home straight?
I was just thinking finally, and we're at the finish line. I can chill after this. I think it's definitely been mentally tiring. I did try and pick myself back up after each championship. I've not really had time to process what's happened this year, so I can go and do that now. Just happy to finish healthy in one piece, and yeah, come away with a gold and 2 silvers.
Coach Trev and Jenny, they're your biggest support team. What did they say to you before the race?
Well, they very much believe in everything that I am and what they want me to do in training. So they're very much, Keely, you can win this however you want, just go believe in yourself, and that's what I did. So yeah, they're great.
Brilliant. Congratulations. Go and enjoy it. Go and rest.
Men's 4x400 metres relay.
So Haydock Wilson in front with 250 metres to go. Francis Thomas Jordier, a great relay runner in himself, tucked in behind him. The Belgians starting to slip back very, very slightly, and it's Spain in fourth at the moment with Samuel Garcia trying to get up into the medals. But it's Alex Haydock-Wilson holding the inside line, moving out into lane 2. The French and the Belgians have got to go the long way round if they're to get past Haydock-Wilson, but they don't. It's Britain, gold. And Great Britain, Northern Ireland win that race, having got the lead almost from the very first stride of Matthew Hudson-Smith on the opening leg.
National record for Spain in fourth. That's a super impressive performance, but it did take sub 3 minutes to get into the medals. France and Belgium were pulling each other ever so close to that British team. In the last 20 or 30 metres, you thought it could be anybody's, but Alex Haydock-Wilson of Great Britain and Northern Ireland holding on. Saw that lovely moment in the call room where Matt Hudson-Smith pointed at his head. He said to Alex Haydock-Wilson, I'm sure it was something along the lines of, you're going to have to get this really right. You could get the baton in the lead. You put the two weaker, inverted commas, athletes in the middle legs. Big hitters at the first and third. What a great job from Dobson and his teammate to keep them in contention.
Well, Matthew Hudson-Smith, 2 individual golds, but he's gone from bronze in 2016, silver in 2018, and now gold with the men's 4x400 metre quartet for Great Britain and Northern Ireland.
Yeah, Belgium, of course, won this title 4 years ago, so they've swapped the top 2 back again. But Alex Haydock-Wilson was someone who was really disappointed with his run in the mixed relay at the World Championship, said he didn't feel fully up to scratch and up to speed to take part. 2 inexperienced athletes, Dobson and Davy, in the middle of things, but Haydock-Wilson in the end brought it home. You just wondered whether the Frenchman Jordier was going to come past and then try and make it a race down the home straight, but Haydock-Wilson held on to the lead right until the end.
Dobber and Desensky, this is the reality of 4x400 here. We're going to see it on the women's side as well. It's a very physical event. Normally these athletes are just separated in their own lanes. It's a different beast when you turn into a relay, even more so indoors. But that's also the advantage of having a good runner on your first leg. You can separate yourself from the pack and not have to deal with any of that drama. I think that was another team tactic from Great Britain and Northern Ireland that paid off in there. For them, Dylan Borlée was fastest in the qualifying legs, the only athlete going sub 45, and that was another heroic leg from a Borlée at the European Championships, but only enough for silver today.
Women's javelin throw.
Elena Sengo. Really hard to call this competition. I know that Barbara Spatakova win would be popular, but Sengo at the moment in the lead and going over 65 metres. So, a hug from the Greek team before we know what this measurement is. We do now, it's 65.81. So she's now 5 metres clear of her opponents. Sengo, our gold medalist. Can she pull out something big in this last round? Yes, she can.
And that's a 4th gold medal for Greece. Tardis Tentoglu taking the victory in the men's long jump. And Antigone and Tristan Piotti getting a pair of race-walking gold medals, doing her double this morning. But Sengo of Greece, that's a brilliant effort from the youngster. She was under pressure here. She took the pressure off herself with a great first round effort exceeding 60 metres, and then built on that with a personal best in the second round, 65 metres 81.
So in a year she's gone from the under 20 European champion to now the senior gold medalist in the javelin. Elena Sengo and Barbara Spatakova on a podium together. As Hannah was saying, another gold medal for Greece, 65.81, the best throw, and a good distance back of more than 3 metres.
Head over to the Munich 2022 website for more coverage of the athletics and the 8 other sports that form the European Championships. That's simply munich2022.com. But in the meantime, here's some highlights from these championships so far. Women's 4x400 meters relay.
So it's Camilla Laus against Nicole Jurgen and Femke Bol. The Netherlands are right where they'd want to be at this point. And then Kazmanek of Poland, the incredible finisher. Well, Natalia Kazmanek, 49.86, the Polish record holder at home in Silesia in the Diamond League recently. Bol, who already has 2 gold medals at these championships. Jürgen tries to use her shoulders to go around the outside, but is out-muscled by Femke Bol, who's on her way to win her 3rd gold of these championships, with Kazmarek coming through for silver. What an incredible championships from Femke Bol. Yet more Dutch delight. 3:20.87. Well, we wondered whether the Dutch had the full strength in depth to do what they did at the European indoors. But oh yes, they did. They've beaten the Golden Girls of Poland and the Brits.
Was a really close race down to the wire with 200 metres to go. You needed some 800-metre tactics in there, positioning around that final bend. But the Netherlands coming out strongly in the end. Femke Bol, it almost looked like she was biding her time on the back straight, just waiting, not wanting to kick too early, not wanting to be vulnerable in the last 100 metres, and cheers all around from the Netherlands team. But Lieke Klaver ran a really brilliantly strong second leg as well, powered her team right up to the 4. They then got caught up. It was a very messy handover between some of the latter legs, and I do think the team from the Netherlands doing really well to manage to come home for the gold medal, and a lot of that credit certainly has to be given to Femke Bol. She's inviting the other athletes that ran in the heats to come in the lap of honour. I think they're going to lead them to it, but that's a lovely touch from Femke Bol.
But the athletes who ran in the heats will also get medals, and they are also allowed to stand on the podium. There's Friday getting in the action, the irrepressible European Championships mascot.
In the press conference, Femke Bol was asked, what is going on in Holland? Why are you guys so good? She credited their training base and their team atmosphere. She said, we're all having